The McShin Foundation is Virginia's leading peer-to-peer recovery community organization. So if you or a loved one is struggling with addiction, let us get you connected. Build your self-esteem and lead you to a solid foundation in your recovery. Check us out.
So I want to start by rewinding 10 years ago. So if you wouldn't mind, rewind with me. I was sitting in the General Assembly building working as a legislative assistant for the Senate Majority Leader at the time, and into my office walks this big guy, really loud, really opinionated. We all know him and love him, the one and only John Shinholzer. John was there lobbying for probably the most important issue of the General Assembly that year, and after he got done asking me to have my boss support whatever legislation it was that he was there for, I then turn around and ask him for a favor to help me find a dissertation topic for my VCU PhD program dissertation. Go Rams. He immediately shared about a program that he'd started under Sheriff C.T. Woody in the Richmond City Jail, working in what was the worst tier of the jail, helping addicts overcome their addiction. The next week, John and I were in the sheriff's office asking for his blessing for me to conduct research on the effectiveness of the program. Surprisingly, the sheriff said yes, and the next week I was walking back to the F Tier 2 of the jail, the worst tier in the jail. You can see the mess that I walked into. Needless to say, this young college student walking in there, I was a nervous wreck. But let me digress for a moment. I grew up in a law enforcement household. My father had been in policing my whole life. I had a very conservative view of right from wrong, from jails and addiction. I thought if you want to stop, just do it. If you don't want to go to jail, don't commit the crime. So that was my mindset entering the jail, ignorant. But over the next 5 years, I was really afforded the greatest opportunity thanks to Sheriff Woody and John Shinholzer. I spent over 2,000 hours working with the men in the recovery program, collecting surveys, observing groups and sessions, and conducting interviews. I quickly realized how crazy my previous mindset was. I began to understand that while there is no excuse or justification for behavior, there are circumstances and situations that typically lead to it. I began to better understand addiction as a disease. I quickly became very irritated and frustrated, though, realizing how much the system was set up for folks exiting incarceration to fail, and for addicts not to be able to overcome their substance use disorder. It's no secret that pure incarceration in jail or prison just does not work. We all know it's a breeding ground for producing worse criminals upon release. And then to release folks back into the same environment and expect a different outcome, it's just crazy. And how can one succeed in an environment that after justice should be served, justice isn't served? And for some, justice never will be served because society continues to punish and shun even after release. But after my 5 years of research, Sheriff Woody couldn't get rid of me. I kept on coming back. After finding great success in programs and nearly $8 million in taxpayer savings from that program, I just couldn't separate myself. What started as a degree or a way to get my degree and a couple of letters behind my name, resulting in what I say is my calling today. I thought if my degrees and hands-on experience can affect the system and the lives of others, even if it's just one person, then I've fulfilled God's mission for me. Sheriff Woody ended up hiring me full-time 4 years ago to be his program director, to create holistic programming that touches and addresses all layers of the problem. I really couldn't have dreamt for a better position or a better boss. And while I can talk about holistic programming all day and all night, I won't. What I will say is, this is where society has gone wrong. While the government is spending millions and billions of dollars on the drug epidemic and on crime and programming, the problem continues to get worse. Why are 21 million Americans living in active addiction today? Why? Because the why isn't addressed. The right approaches are not being taken and the questions aren't being asked. We all know you can take away the drugs for a bit. You can put them in new housing. You can give people a job. But if the underlying issue isn't addressed and isn't managed, if new coping mechanisms are not built, as well as raising resilience levels, it's only a matter of time before the drugs come back to self-medicate whatever the unanswered why is. Until we help folks overcome being molested when they were young, or going to sleep while mom was being beaten, or coming to grips with a divorce, or being bullied, or stressed out, or childhood cancer, the problem will continue. We are a society of very hurt people. If the hurt is not addressed, drugs will not go away. This is the behavior modification approach we take with our program in the Richmond City Justice Center through the REAL program. People in the program, this is their full-time job, 40 hours a week dedicated to changing their thinking and changing their behavior, dealing with trauma, overcoming addiction, and gaining the tools to be successful. While research has confirmed REAL's effectiveness as it relates to lowering recidivism, we all know there's a lot of obstacles faced after release from incarceration. So as a response, we founded a nonprofit that enables us to continue to work with our men and women after release, a gap filler, if you will. Not to reinvent the wheel, because we have many great partners that work with folks coming out of the Richmond City Justice Center and other institutions. But there's still unmet needs due to shortages or lack of resources, whether it be bus tickets, cell phones, job assistance, mentoring, budget coaching, just to name a few. Real Life's latest project, while I'm in the mode of sharing, is opening a community center near the Manchester area of Richmond. It'll be a one-stop shop for folks who are working to overcome their addiction or to sustain their sobriety. Through using evidence-based models and criminogenic risk assessments, we're excited about the opportunity to provide a service that is lacking in that area of our city. So stay tuned for more details on that. But to wrap things up, it's clear we need change. I believe in the REAL program, we've hit the nail on the head with behavior modification and trauma-informed care. I hope others take note and follow suit so that the problem can begin to be curbed and people will stop dying from their disease. I want to leave you with this, a short song put together by Tehran and William in the REAL program. We have the only recording studio in any jail in the United States because we know of the therapeutic value of music. What you're about to see is the men performing the song on their pod or housing unit that was later recorded in the recording studio. The words were written by these men, William and Tehran, describing their addiction and overcoming it. As you'll hear from the song, and as we know sitting here today, this must be addressed, and we can't continue to lock up the talent and think that that is going to take care of the problem. As was said earlier, arresting away the problem does not work. We need to work to create better citizens and not better criminals. So enjoy the video, and thank you for having me this evening.
First time being locked up, but I've been doing time, because my soul was in handcuffs. Because I was doing things like selling white flakes, I called it dandruff. But then I had a daughter, so it was time for me to man up. No, it's time for us to man up. I can't sit down till all my brothers stand up.
I was sleeping on my feet, now I live a dream. Changed mine, no more victim to the same thing. Was getting monster, every day was Halloween. No offense to Martin Luther, I'm a real king. Real king. Yeah, tell him I'm a real king. Can somebody tell him I'm a real king? Real king. Head high, I'm a real king. You can bet the drops, I'm a real king. Real king. Running through these streets without a day's rest. Scared to see it to the end like an AIDS test. Imagination still running with my legs rest. Like my soul will walk around if it ain't got the flesh. Ooh, posted in these jets, I was all for it. Still running through these courts like a small board. Old head say I'm burnt, yeah, chore boy. And I'm still sitting with the rims like a backboard. I don't think the crown too heavy though. I used to lick and send people like envelopes. I hit the streets still, running like an engine do. Till I was caged at Debo's pigeon coop. I was sleeping on my feet, now I live a dream. Changed man, no more victim to the same things. Was getting monster, every day was Halloween. No offense to Martin Luther, I'm a real king. Real king. Yeah, tell him I'm a real king. Can somebody tell him I'm a real king? Real king. Head high, I'm a real king. You can bet the house I'm a real king. Standing on the throne of a dead man. Yeah, watch him wear this crown like a headband. Tell him cock it to the side like a kickstand. I'm in the same hood I used to get a fix in. Run ragged, tongue hanging like a Kiss fan. Michael Jordan, boy, I'm the sixth man. I was scoring, then I had to switch lanes. And then out the side door like a work van. Ooh, bowed in, impelled. I really terrible, was terrible. I'ma be a whole nother miracle. I mess around and turn the song to a spiritual. I know my soul body busting at the seams. And talk to me, we be tripping in my dreams. I know this life and afterlife is what it means. So hands down, I'ma probably be a king.
Now on to the next topic. You know, toting a gun doesn't make you a man. You're not real because you sold a couple grams. Instead of being the king of the streets, be the king of your home. Your lace boy is your throne. Your wife is your queen. Because believe it or not, in the end, we all real kings. Real